guys, I'll flick through these then, if we then move on to items for payment, whereby
Financial report.
financial report, second quarter report, budget and monitoring, funds available as of the 30th of September.
So you need to look over that.
Right, good evening. First of all, I'd say thank you to Mary. Without her determination to go through the records of payments and receipts, and in particular through minutes going back as far as 2018. I wouldn't have been able to put this report together with any considered accuracy. I think, first of all, it's fair to say that spending looks to have come in, it's coming in within or around the budget numbers. However, the headline numbers that you see tend to distort distort the appearance of what's going on. What I decided to do was to split the budget versus spending into two separate categories, which was so I've done one which I've called village run costs, and the second is the comes under Sir Francis Field. So,
Oh, my word.
I don't know if everyone...
That's for you to make that bit bigger.
Right, so, what we did, we examined the spending not just in relation to the bank accounts, but also in relation to earmarked reserves or earmarked funds. And before I go any further, when I say earmarked reserves and earmarked funds, I'm not wishing to teach anyone to suck eggs here, but I just want to make sure that everyone's clear that earmarked reserves and earmarked funds are literally that they can only be spent on the project or the category for which they have been ring-fenced. And there are certain funds there which, for example, although we've got 65,000 seal money, if that doesn't get spent on infrastructure, then it gets returned and it has timelines attached to it. So, as at the end of September this year, there was £325,638 across all the bank accounts. However, earmarked funds stood at 260,168. So this left £65,469 in general reserves. My main concern was the Barclays Bank. And Barclays Bank is primarily, purely for the accounts of the Sir Francis Field. And after you've taken out earmarked reserves, you're left with a negative figure, a negative £13,300. So, what we, and also, if you look at the Co-op Bank, which is for the village running costs, it leaves you with £48,545. Now, what concerns me is that this £48,545 is less than what we budgeted for going to the end of the year, to March 2025. So, after much consideration, and it was agreed at the last council meeting, to move some funds from from Nationwide and Unity into, so the Sir Francis Field money from Nationwide and Unity would be moved into the Barclays Bank. And then the monies, the remaining monies in Unity and Nationwide, which is 8,669 and 21,560, gets put into the coal bank. So, the other thing I want to point out is if with the Barclays Bank, even if you add in the 5,000 that's due, the 7,000 that's due from the bungalow rent, you're still short. You've still got to make a £34,800 payment for the public works loan in March next year. I think you agree that's simply not acceptable. So how will things look once we've moved this money around? Right, so once the money's moved around, we're going to leave £1 in the Nationwide, £1 in the Unity Bank to keep the bank accounts open. As an aside, Hodge Bank wrote to us last year saying they want to close the account. So, what we propose is we move the Hodge money to either Nationwide or Unity, whichever gives the highest interest. But with both banks being open, you've got a choice. As you can see, after you've taken out, I've taken out the seal money, you're left with 21,500 to operate the village. You're left with £8,000 just under in the Barclays Bank. And what concerns me more is that with the £8,000 in the Barclays Bank, it's still not enough. It's still not enough to cover a shortfall of about £26,000 in next year's payments. And it would leave 21,500, which gets left in the coal bank, is more in line with what you would expect if you take the precept, the running cost side of the precept, which is about £50,000, 21,000 is more in line with what is probably required as a reserve for a parish of this size, which is about 50%. It's still short, but it's a bit more, it's a bit closer to what you need. So, I'd like to just go through the village money costs. So, sorry, I need a bigger screen, unfortunately. First thing to note is that your payment is your payments and receipts are inflated by £50,000, which gets transferred out of the coal bank. Remember, this is the coal bank. Gets inflated by £50,000, which comes in to cover the public works loan. Then £50,000 obviously gets transferred over to Barclays. So, after allowing for the transfer, you've got an income of around 63,000. This includes £10,177 seal payment which was received, and this can only be spent on infrastructure projects and improvements. Other receipts total 3,690, which is largely VAT, there's a big interest grant of £500 and bank interest. So, total payments, sorry, total payments, total payments are about 26,288 after you've taken out that 50,000 transfer. Going to the rest of the year, the largest payments that we expect to see would be about £11,000 towards salary and HMRC. There's £6,500 of insurance to pay, which gets renewed in November. There's £6,000 remaining from the glass cutting contract, and you've also got a potential £3,700 payment towards the cost of running a school patrol, crossing patrol. I know there's a lot of talk about Maloney's offering to pay towards this, or making a donation towards it, but that is very much dependent on how many houses, what their income is relative to how many houses they sell. It's not a guarantee. Areas which have come in over budget are primarily just the utilities. I'm looking into looking into contracts with EDF or other utility companies to see what best deal we can get together. St Francis Field, again, you've got an income of 60, receipts of 58,758, which is 50 grand from the precept transfer. Your bungalow rent so far is 7,570, and other payments. There's income of £721 of utility reimbursement, and you've got £245 from sheep grazing. I know there's other VAT numbers to come through, but we haven't applied for those yet. The largest payment clearly is the public works loan repayment. And as I mentioned earlier, there's still another 34,800 that needs to be to come out in March of next year. The rates are currently running at 3,981. You've got another 4 months of rates to pay, which are £374 a month. Utilities, I'd say 1,760. So, the budgeting process for next year hasn't started yet. And we need to adopt a bottom-up approach, rather than setting a headline figure and then trying to get everything to fit in with it. So, what do we look like? I think without a significant pickup in revenue, in receipts, personally, I can't see how a precept increase can be avoided. Which brings me on to my last slide. How bad is this going to look? Well, I talked about the £26,000 shortfall. So, if we were to increase the precept by 26,000, using this year's tax base, a Band B house would end up paying an extra £24.45 a year. And because it's over a 10-month period, that's about £2.45 a month. So the precept was 139,000, using the same tax base. The parish council part of the precept would be £130.70. about it, really. I mean, I believe that using a bottom-up approach, a bit more a systematic look at finance, and with me overviewing the process, I think that there's a possibility that we can get things back on track. The idea of this was to really try and make things a little bit more transparent, and you go away with a little bit more understanding of what the finances actually look like. And hopefully you've got a better idea of, or a better sense of what things are, more than my impressions.